Director of Talent Management, Mr. Arthur Lelono, the Honorable Head of Research Organization in National Research and Innovation Agency, the Honorable Head and Research Center in National Research and Innovation Agency, the Honorable French Embassy Attaché Thierry Gaubier and Gauthier Gokuin, the Honorable Director of International Relations and Academic Partnership for IMT Atlantique, Mr. Stephen Roy, the Honorable Director of SUBATECH, Dr. Guinness Martinez, distinguished guests and colleagues. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Stephen Roy, Dr. Guinness Martinez, Mr. Thierry Gaubier, and Mr. Gauthier Gokuin, bonjour. Welcome to the BRIN, the National Research and Innovation Agency. My name is Martira Putri, and I am as Master of Ceremony in this meeting. Thank you for joining our meeting of today at the Open Campus Degree by Research with SUBATECH IMT Atlantique, France. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, we would like to invite Mr. Arthur Lelono as the Director of Talent Management Deputy to brief report in this meeting. Mr. Arthur, time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Putri. The Honorable Pak Edi Giri Rahman Putra, the Deputy of Human Resources and National Resource and Innovation Agency Indonesians, Honorable speakers here, Pak Stephen Roy, and Mr. Dr. Guinness Martinez, and Pak Thierry Gaubier, and Mr. Gauthier from the French Embassy. I would like to express our deepest sincere gratitude for having all of you today on this short webinars, giving an opportunity that several potential collaboration that we already discussed on the meeting at the GW Joint Working Group between Indonesians and French previously. We're hoping that later on there's a program on the degree by research between the IMT of Atlantique and also soon from SUBATECH could be established. And together here, we're hoping that you can also share later on all the potential research topic, which then can be act as the anchor of the hub for the students, potential students in BRIN. We're hoping here we will establish a further technical collaboration later on to act as the platform for this human capacity building, especially on providing opportunities for students to obtain their PhD based on research activity. But what is much more important is that sustaining the research collaboration between researchers in BRIN and researchers from the French Institute. Thank you very much once again from our side, and we hope very fruitful discussions. And I hope that we can hear from the Director of Talent Management will support all of the administrative and substantials, and we're hoping that researchers from BRIN, which is also coming here from other research organizations, which I emphasize here together. Pak Hasnan is available here, Pak Heri Yogasawara is also here, and other director from the Pusat Research or Research Center in BRIN. We're hoping that later on can act as a bridging for the platform for the capacity building and the competency building for Indonesian researchers. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Arthur, for the report. And the second agenda is opening speech by the Acting Deputy for Human Resources of Science and Technology, Mr. Edi Giri. Time is yours.
Terima kasih, Mbak Putri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon for my colleagues in Indonesia, and very good morning to our colleague in France. Honorable Speaker, Pak Stephen Roy, Director of International Relations and Academic Partnership for IMT Atlantique, and also Dr. Guinness Martinez, the Director of Laboratory of Atomic Physics and Associated Technology, SUBATECH in France, our colleagues from BRIN and also from French Embassy in Jakarta, Pak Thierry and Pak G, and then also student candidate, ladies and gentlemen. So it's very grateful that today we have open campus webinar provided by our Directorate, Talent Management Directorate, and also in collaboration with the Atlantique, and also in supporting by the French Embassy. Yeah, thank you very much, Eri and Pak. For a research-based PhD degree program, like Dr. Atul mentioned before. So this is one of the Open Campus activity series, yeah, 2022. I can remember that it was already 3 times or 4 times, yeah. We have the open webinar, Open Campus webinar, actually. And today we have a webinar with the IMT Atlantique, France, in order to conduct matchmaking research program, yeah, and will be a part of the degree by research program between BRIN and the host university in overseas like IMT Atlantique. So, ladies and gentlemen, increasing the quantity and quality of science, technology, human resources in Indonesia government priority in realizing the quality and competitiveness, yeah, which is in line with the 2020 until 2024 national strategic agenda. So the need of quality of human resources is needed to strengthen the research and innovation ecosystem that can increase the adoption, mastery, and cultures of research and innovation in Indonesia. BRIN has already established, yeah, the degree by research program scheme, yeah, to accelerate the number, then to increase the capabilities and qualification of national science and technology human resources, not only for research institution in Indonesia, but also for the university, even for industry. So this program is different like other educational program that's already offered, yeah. Degree by research program is an educational program based on the research collaboration, like Dr. Atul said before. The collaboration between the BRIN and the host university. So, BRIN will provide the prospective students and supervisor as well as the research topic and funding. Meanwhile, the host university will offer research-based formal education program and academic supervisor or professor. So the student will conduct their research, yeah, mostly in Indonesia, rather than in the host university in France, and directly will be supervised by their supervisor through the research mobility program. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are very delighted that our university partner, IMT Atlantique, France, yeah, and especially from the Laboratory of Atomic Physics and Associated Technology, SUBATECH, will do matchmaking, yeah, with BRIN to provide more detailed information, yeah, about the study program and research at the IMT Atlantique. And then this discussion or this information can be used as a basis for the research on the degree by research program in BRIN. Yeah. So I hope this webinar can be utilized as widely as possible, especially for the BRIN young talents who will become prospective students at France, yeah, as well as for the BRIN's senior researchers, yeah, collaborate the research activity and become a co-supervisor. So once again, thank you very much for our colleague from IMT Atlantique and also our colleague from the Embassy, yeah. And I do believe this is just the beginning, yeah, of our initiation of our big step, yeah, forward, yeah, in order to strengthen research and also human resources development. Thank you very much and very good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Adi, for the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now the time for our main agenda. Presentation from IMT Atlantique and from Laboratory of Atomic Physics and Associated Technologies, SUBATECH, France, followed by a discussion session. And the session will be guided by my colleague, Ms. Tita, as the moderator. Ms. Tita, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Tira, for this today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from BRIN, and also our colleagues from French Embassy, IMT Atlantique, and SUBATECH. Greetings, I'm Tita. I will be the moderator for today's webinar sessions. I'm very pleased to welcome all of you to this webinar. Today's webinar is about open campus on IMT Atlantique and Laboratory of Atomic Physics and Associated Technology SUBATECH for degree by research program of BRIN. Before we begin the webinar, I would like to inform for today's webinar, there will be two presentations from IMT Atlantique and SUBATECH. The first speaker, Director of International Relations and Academic Partnerships for the Institute Mais Telecom Defense Pay Deloan, IMT Atlantique, Mr. Stefan Roy. I'm sorry if there is mispronunciation for the names and institutions here. And then the second speaker is Director of SUBATECH, Mr. Ignace Martinez. Now, I would like to explain that during presentation, all the participants can write the question in the chat column, and we will read the question accordingly when in the discussion session. The question can be read in English and Indonesian. If it's written in Indonesian, and our colleagues will, my team from our team will translate to English, and so it's okay to ask in Indonesian, and then we will deliver to the speaker. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin to the presentation session. To the first speaker, Mr. Stefan Roy. Simple explanation. Mr. Stefan Roy has more than 20 years experience in fostering partnerships at the international level and in analyzing new initiatives in research and development. Today, he will introduce to us about IMT Atlantique and the programs and also various of cooperation schemes that we might have interest in. So, to Mr. Stefan Roy, the time is yours. Okay, host. Mr. Stefan, can you hear
Yes,
me?
do you hear me?
Okay. Oh, you're still muted here.
No, I'm actually muted on my screen, but in the room we are not muted. Can you hear me? No? Yes, you can. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to thank BRIN, and I'm very glad to see all of you. We met actually now, it's the third time we are meeting. We met twice in real, once in Jakarta, the second time in Valenciennes, and now we are back to remote, but it's okay. And I would like also to thank our colleagues from the French Embassy to have organized this meeting. The main goal of the meeting is actually to present the activity that is done at IMT Atlantique on atomic physics and nuclear engineering. So we'll not spend a lot of time on IMT Atlantique, because I think we need to devote the time to Rines and to SUBATECH. So I will be extremely brief. If you have to remember something from IMT Atlantique, we are a technological university, which is located western part of France, and we are under the mandate of the Ministry of the Industry, which means that we have a very clear mandate, we have a very clear mission in terms of training the workforce, training the engineers and the scientists for the industry. And the second mission we have is actually to provide the knowledge for the industry, meaning that we are doing research for and with the industry. And this is the main activity of our laboratories. The second thing I would like to mention regarding IMT Atlantique is that we are specialized in three main domains, three main transitions: digital technology, environment, and energy. And the main topic today will be to talk about energy and nuclear energy and atomic physics. And the last thing I want to mention about IMT Atlantique is that we coordinate, and my colleague François Keo, you cannot really see him because the camera is not providing this, but you know, all of you know François. François is coordinating the FISEM on the French side. The FISEM, as you know, is the French-Indonesian Consortium for Engineering and Management. And with this consortium, we have a very strong partnership with 10 universities in Indonesia and 9 universities in France. And so FISEM has been running now for almost 10 years. So we have quite a lot of friends and colleagues in Indonesia. And actually we are going to, after you, we will welcome the Vice Rector from the University of Indonesia, Professor Didi Priyadi, here actually in Nantes. But this is the main thing I wanted to say. So focusing on the research part and the training part, we are mainly a postgraduate university, meaning that we are only taking our students after the bachelor, and they do the program of engineering with us, or the master and the PhD with us. And the main activity of nuclear energy and nuclear engineering is done actually by Rines. And I think I would leave the floor to Rines because I want to spend more time on the SUBATECH activity, and I know Rines has a lot of things to say usually.
Okay.
Okay, it's very brief about introduction, but I think it's already covered about all field that IMT in cooperation and research and innovation, of course, yeah, for the main. So maybe we will try to invite to our second speaker. So we will explore more about SUBATECH. Okay, for the second speaker is Mr. Martinez Jenis, who already have experience around 2 decades in the nuclear science from city. He started teaching experience in 2002 in the University of Nantes and also other universities. Today, he is here as director of SUBATECH to introduce to us about the program in SUBATECH and about the possibilities of research cooperation and also with BRIN. Okay, Mr. Jenis Martinez, the time is yours.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me well. The quality of the sound is okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, of course, it is a pleasure to present our laboratory, SUBATECH, and its activities. I am going to share with you some slides. Just tell me that you can see them. That's okay?
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Okay, perfect. So I will start about a few words. This is a kind of Franco-French slide, just to explain a little bit of our structure. SUBATECH is what we call in French unité mixte de recherche, and we have 2 supervisory bodies, which are CNRS, Nantes Université, and of course IMT Atlantique, where we are located indeed since 1994. Today, SUBATECH is close to 200 staff, close to 60 permanent research and teaching research, close to 80 engineers and technicians, 16 postdocs, and 44 PhD students. This is what we are located. You have the main campus, Nantes campus of IMT Atlantique, here in this picture, and we are located. We are host in several buildings of IMT Atlantique. We collaborate closely to an accelerator of particle, which is in Nantes, west side of Nantes. This is called Aronax. And we are also collaborating with the hospital of Nantes with a detector. I will talk about it later, which is called SEMIS 2. So you can see it in this map. You see Nantes downtown, the hospital. You see Aronax here, and in the north of Nantes, where we are located. This is IMT Atlantique, very close to the Earth River. This is the total surface of SUBATECH, and we have a lot of experimental area, mechanical workshop, and a special area for radiochemistry laboratory and SMART. So which are the leitmotif of SUBATECH research? There are 4. The first one is to prove understanding the infinitely small and large, and we are organized collaborating with large instruments for nuclear and particle physics in international collaboration. For example, we are working in the European lab, which is called CERN, which is located in the border between France and Switzerland. Another particularity of our lab, we have a large research program and a big team working in radiochemistry. And this is very important for SUBATECH. This is the larger academic radiochemistry team in France. And the team leader is Abdelouaz, which is professor in IMT Atlantique. The third characteristic of our lab, leitmotif, is that we are working in applied research, and in particular to the field of energy, environment, and health. And finally, we want to develop technology program and in particular master all the techniques, new techniques associated with subatomic physics. I think you can stop me as when you have a question. There is no problem to interrupt me. And just to tell you that I am not able to see the chat. If you write anything on the chat, I will not able to see. So the SUBATECH is, as mainly I explained before, we are organized, structured in 4 axes that you can see here. Sorry, this is in French, I realize now, sorry for that, but this is the 2 infinites, the nuclear field for energy and environment, the nuclear field for health, and the associated technologies. I will go fast. Just is to develop few keywords about the things we are doing in the different axes. On the first one, we are members of the international collaboration of ALICE, where I think some Indonesian groups are working in as well. And we are involved since 20 years in this program, which is very important for us. We are working on neutrino physics, and today we are working in 2 detectors, 2 collaboration, one which is in China, which is Juno collaboration, which is a detector to study the properties of neutrino using antineutrino produced in civil nuclear reactor in the southeast of China. And we have developed a new telescope of neutrino, which is called PM3NET, which is located in the Mediterranean Sea in France and in Italy. We are looking for direct dark matter to explain the origin of the dark matter. We know it mass 6. And for this, we are working in an experiment with a new technology of liquid xenon. And this collaboration is called Xenon and Ton, and it is located in the underground, in the underground of a big mountain in Italy. We have also some programs with nuclear physics with a particular detector for detecting with high efficiency and resolution photons from radioactive decay of radionuclides. And this is, today we are working indeed in the accelerator in Finland, in Jyväskylä. We are opening a new activity around the gravitational wave with international collaboration, Virgo and HS telescope. We have an excellence in theory. Sorry, there is a typo here. We are a big team working in theory on QCD, nuclear physics, heavy ion, and we are involved in large European collaboration network like a Strong 2020. On the field of the nuclear of health, we are developing a detector which is called CEMIX2, which is the detector with the same technology as the one we use for looking for search for dark matter. And this detector is CEMIX2. This is a novel technique for imaging that we call 3-gamma imaging, and we are develop a prototype in collaboration with the hospital of Nantes. We are starting a new project, which is a SMILE, which the goal is to build in SUBATECH a mass separator using laser ionization, and this is a new apparatus for the health of environment and also for health. We have a strong collaboration with the accelerator, a cyclotron I presented before, which is called Aronax, and we are producing and study the chemistry of new radionuclides that they are not used yet, but they are very interesting for the future to develop application for the nuclear medicine. We have a big project to be built around the three body, because this 3 gamma imaging is devoted to small animals. And of course, the next step will be to build a large detector for being able to imagine the human body. We have a strong collaboration with biologists, in particular to understand all the issues related with the irradiation on small animals and cells. See, these are the main topics. For the nuclear field for environment and energy, we have an industrial chair with a big, large French organization to study all the problems related with the stockage of nuclear waste in France. We have projects around the environment, and the main important is this, the study of all mines of uranium in France. We are involved in large European network like EURAT and PREDIS. We have a common laboratory with a society called Triskem. This LabCom is called Tesmarac. We have expertise on the simulation of nuclear reactor, and also on study and making a nuclear experiment to improve the nuclear data and to improve our knowledge about to be able to simulate nuclear reactor with high resolution. We are also involved in new generation of nuclear reactor, and in particular the mold cell conceptual of a nuclear reactor, which we call for 4th generation. We are specialists in study the scenario of the electronuclear, civil electronuclear program at the level of a country, and we have developed a special software for this study. And there is a close interdisciplinary program with sociologists and economists. And last but not least, we want to master all the technologies associated to this field. Of course, mechanics and electronics and integration in large experiment. We have developed a small group on computing for research, in particular to collaborate with other laboratories on computing and to apply to our field the new tools coming from the artificial intelligence. We develop new technologies of detection of ionization, and we have the same of the program, Liquido, liquid xenon, and sphere. And we master a lot of techniques, most of all the techniques in radiochemistry, and we are recognized as a lab to measure radioactivity in the environment with a platform which is called SMART, and we also have some mastering on all the techniques related to the ion beam analysis for analysis. I think this is one of the most important slide of my presentation, and I think, I mean, we need just to look to the time. I can go faster. You tell me if I'm getting it. Okay. You can continue. Yes. Very good. So this is just to flash the different themes, which is neutrino, plasma, prisma, CERN, theory, xenon, all the platform and radiochemistry. This is the platform for the measurement of radioactivity, which is called SMART. And this is all the services, technical services to support our research. Of course, administration, electronics, computing, mechanics, and also everything all related with risk and with radio protection. And we have several committees, committee about the equality of women and men, about the laboratory councils, scientific councils, and also a committee for the what we call DDRS, and I don't remember the sustainable development. Thank you, Stefan. I think I don't need to, maybe a few words about our infrastructure, because we are working in large infrastructure, international infrastructure. I mentioned CER, I mentioned Senon, I mentioned June in China, I mentioned the accelerator Jubascula, but we have also locally some infrastructure and platform. So the main one is SMART, as I said, and this is recognized to make measurement of radionuclide in the environment. This is we are making measurement for the society. We have also working in the computing grid of the LHC experiment at CER, and we have a kind of what we call tier 2. It's a small farm of computer and disk. We have 1,000 CPU, and we have more than two petabytes of capacity for storing data. We have this new installation we are building, which is XEMIS 2. And as I said, this is being built in the hospital of Nantes, what we call CHU in French. And this will become a new infrastructure as soon as we finish the construction this year. We have a big lab of radiochemistry, which is unique in the local and regional context. And we have the ESN authorization for working with radioactive sample materials. And we have a large mechanical workshop, which is of course very useful, with 3D printer and different large equipment to make ourselves a special piece, mechanical piece for our experiment. This is just to flash all the collaborators we have in the different axes. Of course, we see that at the level of the two infinites is really international collaboration. We see China, we see CER, we see Italy, we see Belgium, we see Jubascula. In all the field related with energy and environment is mainly national collaboration with the large organisms in France, like EDF, companies like EDF, Andra, Orano, IRSN, COA. And then for the health, we have a strong collaboration with regional and local laboratories, and in particular with the non-hospital. And this is just to show in this slide some of our collaborators around France and also to the Switzerland and Italy, and also most on the international levels. I will go very fast. The total subject of SUBATECH is about more than 30 million euro, and we have from which there is 9 million from salaries, and the annual budget is between 4 and 5 million of euro. Few words about the teaching activity. I mean, SUBATECH is mainly a research laboratory, but of course we are contributing a lot to the teaching activity at the level of the master, and we have in particular our contribution to the nuclear options in the formation of the engineer of IMT Atlantique. We have international master nuclear engineering, which is in English, and which is related to an Erasmus Mundus program, which is called SARENA. And we also participate to a master on physics, fundamental physics and application. And this is in French, and this is a master together with the IMT Atlantique and Nantes University. Just in a few words, I mean, what we are able to do today is to train about 60 students, master level with the nuclear profile per year. This is our volume, and this is something which is increasing now with the development of the nuclear industry to fight against the the global warming related to the CO2 production. On the scientific production, we are producing more than 100 articles, peer review per year, more than 100 oral presentations, close to 10 PhD defense per year, and about 1 habilitation per year. In 2020, we were able to publish 132 articles peer review. So this is the global presentation of SUBATECH. What I plan to do now is to say a few words, some example, is some personal selection of some projects just to show what we are able to do. And then I will present some highlights of the last year. So for the project is that I told you we are involved in the ALICE collaboration at CERT. This is a very large collaboration. This is 1,000 people, more than 30 countries in the world, and I told you that Indonesia is part of the collaboration, and about 100 of laboratories. One of them is SUBATECH. One of our main contributions was to develop a small detector here. This is the layout of our muon spectrometer in ALICE, just to tell you that from here, IP, to here, there is about 30 meters. And this is 5 meters high. And we developed a small detector with silicon pixel in front of what we call the absorber. And you can see a layout of our detector. And this is the final detector. It's a detector with 1 billion, English billion of pixel, which is close to the interaction point. This is a beryllium pipe where the collision takes place at CERN. And this has been installed in ALICE, in 2009. And this week, indeed, the CERN has been able to generate the first proton-proton collision for the round 3. This is very, very recently. And we start for 3 years of data taken. Just to show you some development on this detector that you can see here, the pixel detector running these flexible circuits dealing with aluminum. And we develop in particular with a company here, a special piece with carbon fiber and some water cooling here. You can see this is a tomography, just to be able to, because the detector is heating and you need to cool down. And we develop this a special heat exchanger to cool it. And we also were working on the flexible printed circuit. We have the particularity to use aluminum instead of copper, and this is very special techniques, and also a special card with many components that was designed in our lab and was built by a company close to Nantes, and this is this power supply unit, and you can see here the prototype we built. Another example of our detectors is the measurement to study radionuclides, in particular nuclear beta decay, which are not well known. And we have developed an electron detector we call E-shape, and this detector was brought to Uvascular to make some measurement. The commission happened in 2019. The experiment was expected to be done in 2020, but you know the situation with the COVID crisis. Though this was very, very long, 2 years and finally we managed to make the experiment with E-shape in Uvascular beginning 2020, and we were very happy of this achievement. And it's very important to know this electron spectrum from this fission nuclei, because improving our knowledge about this decay allow us to improve our simulation of the nuclear reactors, and in particular what we call the residual power. And this is very, very important. As I told you, we are building a detector, which is SEMIS 2, and you have a picture here of our detector in non-hospital. You see here all this system for cool down and make liquid the xenon gas. Xenon gas is very expensive. It's 10,000 euro per kilogram. So we need to have a system where we are able to recycle all the time, because will be very expensive. And this is the camera where we plan to introduce a small animal, and thanks to the 3 gamma technique to make imaging of the small animal with very low radioactivity. We are building. We start this year to build a new apparatus, and for that we need to make a new building in IMT Atlantique. This will start next year, and this new equipment is called SMILES. SMILES for mass separator using ionization laser. This is a big system with a big laser to ablate the sample, and then to make a small acceleration and to separate the atoms, the ions, and being able to make a analysis of all the atoms which are for part of the data sample. And this will be a very important apparatus for us for 2 reasons. One is to make analysis with very high precision of very rare radionuclides in the environment, and the other one will be to produce radionuclides to be used for the nuclear medicine. And this is some picture about the project and what we plan to build. This is a picture of the first laser system. This is just for testing. The final one is still to be bought. And also this is the vacuum chamber where the sample will be installed. And also this is a layout of the dipole that we have also to build. Now I go to few highlights of the SUBATECH activities, and this is just to show you some of the a selection of the articles that we have, in which we have contributed. So one example is this Nature Physics, which is related with our measurement in the experiment Double Show. Double Show is a nuclear reactor in the border between Belgium and France, and we were using the antineutrino spectrum for this reactor to make fundamental measurement of the parameter of the neutrino oscillation. One of these important parameters is what we call θ13, and this article showed how this experiment allowed to improve the precision on the measurement of this parameter. We have also in Nature with the working on the origin of the angular momentum of nuclear fission, and the point was that we have some residual of the nuclear fission with a high angular momentum, and the goal of the experiment was to explain if the origin of this angular momentum is coming before the fission or due to the process of the post, what we call the post-scission generation of the angular momentum. We were optimizing in RNAs the nuclear mechanism to produce from Zang and from a deuterium beam to produce copper-67, and copper-67 is very important for nuclear application, and this has been optimized, and today RNAs is producing copper-67, which is using for real sick people. Now they are doing some study. We have a highlight concerning this French publication about chemistry, and in particular with all our experts on nuclear chemistry have 3 contributions to this review, a special number. We have a review article about all the problems related with the nuclear waste geological disposal, and the main author of this review was Bergamo, which is emerita professor in IMT at Atlantique. We also want to study how natural radioactivity may explain the origin of life in a special place in the planet where there is not light. And it seems that the source of energy could be the natural radioactivity. And this also asks the question about the role of natural radioactivity for the creation of life long time ago. And this was a collaboration with Aronnax and also with a lab which is called ISTER in Grenoble. We are building the telescope of neutrino. I talked about this before. This is KM3net. This is a starting. This is lines of detector, which is 3,000 meters deep in the Mediterranean Sea. And we are able to on November, this is 2001, the first lines of detection, and we also start to take that. And there are 6 lines, and the idea is to build 100 lines. So there is still 2-3 years of work, but it's rather important that we show that this start to work. We are expert in study the astatine. Astatine is a very particular element of the Mendeleev table, because all the isotopes are radioactive, and the longest life of astatine is only 8 hours. So for this reason, astatine exists now in the Earth, but is is ephemeral production, and we estimate that at a given time, on all the crust of the Earth, there is about 30 grams of astatine. But we are able to produce astatine in Aronnax, and we have a specialist to study the nuclear properties of astatine. And why we study astatine is because they have a very high energetic alpha decay, and it can be used in nuclear medicines to kill tumors. And this is a very important program in our labs. We have developed new techniques of detection of neutrino liquido, and there are a lot of money coming from Europe and from France to develop this technique. We have to prove that this works. We are also working on detection of dark matter in another experiment in Frejus tunnel in France, which is DAMICM, and this is a system which is being built. We have a publication on also this technique called Liquido. I think I don't need to go into details. Last but not least, of the highlights that we are very active on all the things related with outreach. We have a radionuclide car which is built with Lego, and this is very useful for general public. You see different colors just to say the different types of radioactivity. You have fission, you have beta plus, beta minus, you have alpha, and you have this dark here, black, which is the stable elements that we find in nature. And I think this is all. And I also want to present that we have now published activity report of the 5 year of SUBATECH. You can have access to this version in this link, and this is in French, but also in English in this report. And I think that's all from that side, from my side. And I thank you for your attention. And as I said, it was really a pleasure for me to present our activity to bring people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dines Martinez. Your explanation is very broad and very interesting, because there's a lot of programs that are nuclear related actually. and also including for other fields like health and technology and also environment, I think. It's very interesting. So I would like to give this opportunity to open the discussion session for all the participants that would like to ask for the speakers. We may welcome you. Okay, but the question is not only for Mr. Ines Martinez, because maybe not for Mr. Martinez, because we have also other participants from other research organization that might maybe interesting about IMT Atlantique, maybe not only about nuclear science, maybe about technology or health or environmental science. From the participant, we would like to give you opportunities to ask. Okay, if there's no question yet, maybe from Mr. Edi Giri, would like to respond first before we go to the participants. Oh, Mr. Edi? Oh, no. Oh, Mr. Edi. Okay, I think we lost him for a moment. Okay, before the participant, we would like to explore more about the degree by research programs. We have some question about the degree by research program. For the joint cooperation, is it possible for us to have a co-supervisor from it as the form of joint supervisors team? Do you have any advice how to establish the collaboration? And also, is it mandatory for students to produce the publication for all paper during this student period? Or maybe you can explain how many papers that we need to produce for the before the defense of the thesis. Maybe for Mr. Stefan Roy, I think. I'm sorry, Mr. Stefan, but your voice is mute.
No, sorry, I was translating the question. I mean, because
No.
we have a hard time to hear you. Actually, the sound is not very good when you talk.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was able to understand a few part of the question. So I will repeat the question to be sure that I understood correctly.
Okay.
One of the question was actually to see when you do a PhD at SUBATECH, how many published papers do we need to have to graduate? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Normally, the standard, I mean, nothing is written, but the standard is to have one publication published or one publication which is on the rails to be published soon. This is the minimum, I will say. But of course, in some particular cases, in particular with technical developments, we can some exception can happen on this part. And also, and this is also important, not only the publication, but also the fact that the student is able to get accepted to its subject, hero has subject, to be presented in an international collaboration. Then there is some exception. Some of our research are protected and they are not going to publication. And in that case, this can be another example of exception. I hope this answers your question.
Okay, I think it's very clear about the answer. So at least one per publication for that publish or Congress to publish for the requirement for the this is requirement thing. Okay, there already have some question from YouTube. I have one question from Jalu Takosa. Mr. Jalur Prakosa is asking, for the DBL program, is it possible to facilitate students to study directly in France in the first and final semester to gain international experience and international network? Okay, this question.
Again, I'm sorry, we couldn't hear the question.
Oh, yes, I would like to.
Maybe Gauthier or Thierry, did you hear the question, or do you have the question? Because I think there's a little problem with your microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe Mr. Tira, can you take over for a moment while I change to other device? There are some questions at the chat column that you may ask to the presenter. I would like to try to other device about my headset, or I would like to change for a moment.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms.
How about the question how about the question from Zoom meeting is about it is interesting that your institution has developed new radioisotope by using animal, and the question is what kind of imaging instrument that have been utilized in the research so far? The question.
Yeah, maybe I can answer. Yeah, I can answer.
Yeah,
Of the small animals, I mean, we are not habilitated to work with small animals. I mean, this is done in collaboration with laboratories in health, and there are several of them. So on the small animals, there are two different axes. One is irradiation, and this has not started yet, but this is not imaging. This is to send a proton alpha beam on the animals to irradiate and to see the effects on the tumor. And in particular, we are studying an effect which is very promising, is that they have realized that when you have a pulse beam with respect to a continuous one, the damage, the damage for the how to say, for the normal, for the, I'm missing some words, but the damage for the healthy organs is less when you make a pulse beam than with respect to the continuous. And we are imagine how to, to research, to understand which are the mechanisms behind to explain this thing. So on this part, there is not imaging. It's just irradiation. Then, if we produce radionucleides and they are testing in small animals, this is done by other labs. And they have a special infrastructure with different standard techniques of imaging in medicine than they use for their own research. And the last point we have developed is a new technique, new imaging with the 3-photon imaging. And we plan to validate this technique in small animals. And this, the project, the goal is this to happen next year. I hope this answered to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Guinness. How about Mrs. Nur Rahma? Is it clear, or do you still have a more explanation from Mr. Guinness?
Yes, it is very clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nur Rahma. Okay, the next question is about from Umar Sahiful. Are there any topic for PhD program related to neutron simulation? And who is the contact person for this topic? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a good question. We have several specialists of what we call neutronics. By the way, both of them they are assistant professor IMT Atlantique. This is Lydie Gio, Nicolas Thiolière. So this is the expert on neutronic simulation, and neutronic is part of our training program at the level of the engineers and also at the level of the master.
Thank you, Mr. Green. But can you?
I will provide the names to
Okay,
Stefan, and you will have everything from him.
Yes.
Okay, maybe you can write the email in the column chat for the contact person.
Yeah, but I mean, it will be much useful if you go through Stefan or myself to address the message. If not, maybe they will not answer.
There was a question at the end regarding the presentation material. So we provide that to Thierry and Gauthier, the French embassy, and they will provide that before the end of during the day. So we'll give the names of the people mentioned, because typing right now is going to be complicated because we are not exactly in front of the computer. We are in front of the room. So
okay, thank you.
The chat is complicated when you are in the common room like we are right now.
Okay, thank you very much. And now my colleague are here, Ms. Tita. This is time for you to continue this discussion. Thank you.
Okay, does my voice clear now?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, so now I'm using two devices for this session. Actually, I would like to ask, because it's very interesting that SUBATECH have a lot of cooperation with other laboratories and organizations. I would like to ask, is it possible for the candidates or the participant from BRIN to do some kind of like an internship at the laboratory or institution that have collaboration with SUBATECH, maybe that related to their research people?
I mean, what I see as possibilities, normally how to organize the answer. Maybe first, of course, first is the possibility for a good student of the master level to candidate. Every year, we propose about 10 to 15 internship of master level. This is 4 to 6 months internship in SUBATECH, working in a subject, and this will one possibility is to come here as an internship of a master. The other possibility, but this is more for research, I mean for the people who has the doctor diploma, is we can organize a visiting to the lab for 1 month, 2 months, something like that, to work, to start a collaboration with one of our research activity. This is also something that we can consider. I don't know, Stefan, maybe you have. I was thinking about the master internship and the visiting scholar. Yeah.
Visiting scholar. Yes, it is possible to welcome people, but the main activity when we do internship is actually the activity at the master level. So a lot of what Rina has presented regarding the masters, the nuclear engineering master, they have, as you know, the master is actually organized in 4 semesters. 3 semesters are actually academic semester, and 1 semester is the internship semester. And a lot of the internship semester is either done with our partner industry, so they can work in the different industry we're working with, our partners, or they can also do their internship within our laboratory, or sometimes partner universities.
Oh,
so this
so
internship is provided.
Okay, so it's very interesting for doing some interesting for broadening the experience and knowledge, as also relations in international relations, for knowing more researcher in their field, of course. Okay, maybe next there's a question from Mr. Heru Prasetyo. Mr. Heru asking, currently BRIN is opening degree by research and some students already registered at several universities in Indonesia. Is it possible to make collaboration with other university in Indonesia where the BRIN staff had already registered? It's talking maybe about IMT collaboration with Indonesian university, maybe some kind. Does Mr. Heru, maybe if I'm asking wrong, maybe you can correct me, okay? Maybe you asking about AMT collaboration with university in Indonesia, and is it possible for there who's already registered or already as a student at the university has a collaboration or some kind of learning experience with IMT maybe?
Yeah, can I say something? Yeah. Currently, currently BRIN is opening a degree by research program, and some of the staff already registered at the university and enroll the program. And I'm not sure whether they are accepted by the program or not. And I found that your presentation is very interesting, and I believe many staff has big interest to join the program. And since they already registered at the university, is it possible for the student to make collaboration with SUBATECH? I don't know. Yes. They collaborate as a student or they collaborate as BRIN staff, because the station is okay. Thank you.
To answer this question, Mr. Heru, we have double degree with some universities in Indonesia. I would say University of Indonesia, UGM Gajah Maya, and ITS in Surabaya, and ITB, where we have actually double degree with them, particularly in the field of nuclear engineering. So if the person you are talking about are actually registered in these universities, will be extremely happy to actually welcome them in the double degree program, meaning that they will do the Master 1 in Indonesia and the Master 2 with us, meaning that at the end of the Master 2, they will do the internship, and they will do the internship in our laboratories or our partner laboratories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heru. I hope you satisfied with the answer. Okay, next we have question from Miss Visnuriadi. Is that maybe for Mr. Martinez? Okay. The question is that any available list of topics for PhD, especially for mechanical engineering?
Yeah, for the PhD, first for the PhD, we have to say that all the subjects are public. There is an announcement. The calendar is normally they are announced from November to March, April, even later, even May. And this any student in the world can candidate to a PhD topic, which are, as I said, they are public, and this is done via the doctorate school. And I think Stefan can provide all the information. And I think we have already made some discussion with Indonesian students applying for PhD students. Now, on the topic of mechanical engineering, this is not our topic of research. As I presented, we are proposing subjects mainly in the fields of particle, nuclear physics, and radiochemistry. This is the perimeter. We are trying to go through because we are able to supervise some work on electronics and computing. And the idea is to develop these topics in collaboration with other departments of the IMT Atlantique. But on the mechanicals, we do not have this here. So we have not subject on mechanical engineering. Sorry.
So Okay, Ms. Nuriadi, I hope Mr. Pines has already answered your question. Mr. Nuriadi, maybe if there's any other question that you need to confirm?
No, thank you.
I'm sorry, sir, your voice is not clear. Hello?
No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't have a question.
Yeah, okay. I hope the answer is clear for you. Okay, we'll check. There's a question from Mr. Edison, Mr. Edi Samsudin. Okay, the question is, Mr. Edi is here?
Ya, kenapa Mbak?
Ya, Pak, saya mau konfirmasi, takutnya nanti saya pertanyaannya salah atau nanti kalau misalnya ada yang kurang tepat mohon diperbaiki saja ya Pak ya.
Oke, dibacain aja gini, saya itu nanyanya kalau ada S3 gitu. Tadi kan cerita master aja ya.
Iya.
Master di Nantes aja, kalau bisa ada PhD-nya gitu supaya ada yang by research gitu dari sini gitu loh.
Oh, oke.
Ya,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. In the PhD on environment science, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Edi Samsudin want to confirm: is there any PhD program at the for environment science or the others?
Yeah. For the environment, I mean, environment for us is a domain of application, and we do have PhD on this topic, and there are many, and this is an important domain for the labs. I can give few examples. We are working on the problems of tritium isotope in the river. So how the tritium transfer to organic material. So this is one topic we develop. We also study all the problems of migration of radionuclide in all mines of uranium in France, and this is another topic of research. And we collaborate with many topics of environment with the Federation of Lab in Nantes, which is called OSUNA. So the answer is yes, we do have topics in the environment, but of course, are topics related with the techniques of radiochemistry and nuclear physics, but related to application to environment.
Okay. The topic is more nuclear, but a related application for environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I told you, is how, I mean, the migration of radionuclides in the environment. And I told you two examples: the old mines of uranium and the tritium in the rivers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, gimana Pak Edi?
Oh, udah tahu. Jadi nanti ngambilnya itu dari air sungai ya nantinya ya. Jadi yang bersinggungan dengan PLTN-nya gitu ya.
Iya,
Oke deh,
mungkin
mantap.
lebih ke ilmu yang bersinggungan.
Oke deh. Ntar nggak apa-apa dikasih alamatnya aja kalau ada tutorialnya yang bisa bantuin gitu.
Iya, gimana Pak? Mohon maaf.
Minta tolong kalau ada tutorial dari sana yang melaksanakan engineering environmental itu bisa dikasih ke Mbak Tita Linda aja gitu.
Oke, sir. Baik, Pak Edi. Nanti kalau misalnya ada informasi lebih lanjut akan kami sampaikan ke Bapak ya.
Oke.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Edi. We have several head of research organization and research center here. There's Mr. Hans Putra, head of organization from technology, industry, process, dan manufacture. Bapak Hans, Mr. Hans, maybe you have a question about research topics that we can collaborate with IMT and SUBATECH?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I have double Zoom now. I think this is a good a good chance for me, for my teams from the Research Center of Process and Manufacturing Industry Technology. We are interested in research of process and manufacturing, especially in the development of the equipment. So maybe especially in manufacturing process, we will discuss further about some topics in monitoring of controlling the process and some of the main and utility for the equipment.
Yeah, I can answer to this question actually. Right now we are focusing mainly on atomic physics and nuclear engineering, but also IMT Atlantique has a lot of activities on manufacturing and manufacturing process, what we call industry of the future. So I would be very happy to put you in contact with these people actually.
Oke, bagaimana Pak Hans?
Yeah.
Ada yang mau dielaborasi lagi Pak? Mumpung ada sumber informasinya nih Pak sekarang.
Ya, terima kasih. Saya kira sementara kita akan cermati lebih lanjut nih karena I think especially for the nuclear technology is the new area for our team as we have experiences in some industrial technology or engineering design, but not related with nuclear technology. In further, we will support, especially in process and manufacturing. So we will. I think we need to learn further about the process and maybe the safety related with the process itself and the materials.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yeah, thank you.
Need further the discussion internally about the topic research that may related to IMT that can be done with SUBATECH also. Thank you, Mr. Hans.
Yes,
And we have here the head of organization for energy and manufacture, Mr. Hasnan Abimanyu. Maybe you want to ask or confirm or want to explore more about the collaboration opportunities with IMT and SUBATECH. Okay, Ms. Hasnan, Oh.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for the IMT Atlantique SUBATECH. Yeah, I have one question about because we are in the research organization for energy and manufacturing. That's actually not associated with nuclear energy or something like that. My question is then that in SUBATECH there is also field for the energy. So is there any chance for us, for our staffs to have the chance for study in the field of energy without nuclear? I mean the energy outside the nuclear energy. So the energy is many kinds or types of energy. Is it a change?
No. I was mute the mic. Sorry, Stefan. Now it's okay.
Sorry.
Just heard now.
Yes, Professor Aslan. Yes, there is a department in our university very similar to SUBATECH, but it is mainly dealing with energy and environment. So they are using a lot of activities linked to the utilization of biomass and transformation of biomass in energy, follow-up of the environment, water, air, and water and air, basically. So yes, we can send you the information regarding this part too. And it's based on the campus of Nantes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Hassan, I hope it's already, I hope it's clear for you about the opportunity. And then we have here the head of Research Center for Radiation Detection and Nuclear Analysis, Mr. Abu Khalid Rifai. Is already here? Abu Khalid. Okay. Oh, Mr. Rifai. Oh, I think he's not at the place at the moment. I would like to give a chance to other head of research organization or research center to explore more, because while we have the main source of information here, SUBATECH and IMT, maybe there's candidate from their research center, so we can explore more about the topics that may relate to the research center, and we can what collaboration that we may do with IMT and SUBATECH. Okay, we have here, let's check. There is a head of Research Center for Radioisotope, Radiopharmaceutical and Biodosimetry Technology, Miss Tita Puspitasari. Miss Tita, do you have any question for Mr. Stefan Roy or Mr. Guinness Martinez? Okay, maybe question I would like to check from YouTube. Maybe there's someone would like to ask.
I think, yeah, we
I have one question again.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. It is not related with the presentation previously, but I want to curious about the research about the atomic battery. Is it possible to develop about the nuclear battery? Previously, I have been developing the materials for the support or the substrate, but we give the proton in the, I think it's related with the proton battery or maybe other types of atomic battery. Is it possible to develop or research about that?
Both?
Nuclear battery.
We are not in.
No, we are not into this field.
We are not in this field.
Oh, okay.
So we will need to talk to other people in the. We will have because Professor Martinez has another meeting starting in 2 minutes. So it would be nice if we can wrap up the meeting a little bit earlier, which is basically the time now.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Martinez is already have another scheduled meeting. Maybe if there's no other question, maybe we can finish our discussion session for now. How about it?
Minta salam aja sama Pak Gautier itu. Gautier itu orangnya bagus tuh. Bisa ngasih asuransi di sana itu.
Mr. Gautier have say hello from
Makasih,
Mr.
Bapak.
Edit.
Okay.
Maybe we can conclude our webinar for now because there's maybe other already have scheduled meeting also. And if there's no other question from the participant, either from YouTube or Zoom, we may conclude our session for today.
So on our side, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to given to IMT Atlantique to present. I think thanks to the email of Gautier and your email, we will continue the conversation and we'll be very happy to answer any type of questions. If you want to have more details regarding the matter, I can send them, but please go through the email of Gautier, which was actually, or I can, no, but the email of Gautier, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for the opportunities that you're having today. So I think that's it for today's webinar session. I would like to say thank you for all the participants and all the guests who's already come here, or our colleagues. Before we finish our webinar, we would like to thank you for the speakers for the interesting information and comprehensive information about the program. Hopefully we can take more forward about our collaboration. And I'd like to thank you for all who's already supporting for webinar today. And I would like to apologize for any mistake during webinar. And now I would like to give the time to Ms. Tira, MC, for closing for the event today. And Ms. Tira, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Sita. This is your very guiding discussion session today. Ladies and gentlemen, now this is the end of our agenda today. We are very grateful to have all of you join to our meeting. Mr. Eddie, Mr. Arto, and all the guests and colleagues that I cannot mention one by one. Mr. Stephen Roy, Dr. Guinness Martinez, Mr. Thierry Gobier, and Mr. Gautier Gauquin. Merci beaucoup. It has been our pleasure to host this meeting, and hopefully we can build mutually beneficial cooperation in the future. See you on the next occasion. Good afternoon, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Sorry for the technical problems before.
Okay, thank you very much. No problem, Miss Tita.
See you next occasion. All.
And host, you may end the
end of meeting.